Hello everyone. It's James again. And first I want to say, sorry for such a long time between uploads. I've been very busy for the past week and a half. And haven't had the time to upload more content. So I do apologize. I do hope everyone is well out there. The second thing I want to mention, or talk about rather, before we jump into the topic of today. As you may know, many of us YouTubers have to deal with all kinds of crazy stuff regarding monetization. And believe it or not, what we get for making videos actually helps to make more videos. Heck, there are some people out there doing this full time. But that being said, some top YouTubers that seem to have a certain life stance, for some reason don't have to deal with the monetization issue that many of us deal with. Let me explain. Most of your favorite YouTubers that talk about real things that make you think and help you figure out this crazy maze we are walking through in this life journey. Well, these people, each time they upload a video, or shortly thereafter, they get a yellow dot next to their video on the dashboard, which requires us to request a review of our videos to make sure it's ad friendly. However, there are some out there that have never had this issue. And these people talk about some real outlandish stuff. But no problem for them. However, talking about narcissism and male-female issues, without any foul language, is somehow on the list to make sure these videos meet the criteria for being ad-friendly. I and many of us here on YouTube have asked for a review for nearly every video we upload. Now usually this isn't too much of a problem, because they most of the time come back and say everything is good and restore the ads. But the other day, I looked at a recent video I uploaded entitled, "Our Surviving Narcissistic Abuse Was and Is Amazing." I will leave a link for it below if you haven't seen it yet. But after checking this video's status, I see it says, "Not suitable for most advertisers, confirmed by manual review." I have since contacted YouTube so they can explain to me if this was a mistake or if there is a real problem with the video. And if so, where's the problem? And yes, what we are talking about here is going to tie into the topic at hand. Because you see, what is pushed on us as a society greatly affects the society by and large. And when you make it difficult for those that are out there telling their stories and trying to use it as a way to help others, it makes it hard for society to change for the positive. Because those that put out mindless content, they aren't bothered at all, it seems. And sure, I get it. Sometimes watching a funny video that means nothing really can be entertaining. But we have to ask ourselves, is this being done on purpose? Because remember, way back when YouTube was first starting, there were a lot of videos out there about the elite that control the world. Some were a bunch of bunk. But there were also a lot of videos that had really good information. Because before then, most people had a real innocent view of how the world was really run. They thought they just elected people, and these people went into office and did their job. They weren't aware there was this hidden hand of evil in the shadows really controlling things. And because of that initial awakening, many people started to see the reality about the world and about the life they had led up till now. Were they really narcissistically abused? Did their parents really love them? Was this person really my friend? Did my boss sabotage my work to get me fired? And the list goes on and on. And it seems. Now, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it seems that someone or someones are trying to slow this information flow down, so people can blissfully fall asleep back into the matrix. Now, I will see what happens to the request I sent to YouTube. But we have to ask ourselves, how is it some people can say the most horrible stuff on their videos, using foul language, talking about all kinds of things you wouldn't dare speak about in public? No problems. No issues. but someone is talking about their experience having a narcissistic parent or parents, and what they noticed growing up, or the difference one sees how men and women are viewed and treated in our society. And with that, there is undue scrutiny and overzealous policing. And when that happens, it's natural for one to trust their gut and believe it's happening to them on purpose, as it's happening to others. You see, when I talk about the differences between men and women, it's not to say something about women in a negative way. It's saying what the truth is, with the hopes the women out there that have eyes to see and ears to hear will realize the brainwashing mind job that has been done on them by society, all in the name of destroying any chance they might have a healthy home for her and her future family. And the moral of this message is, don't follow what society is telling you to follow. Because if you do that, you will just end up going down a road of misery and pain. And that's a message that should be seen as something that is decent and right. So we'll see what happens with this video in question, and I will keep you posted. That being said, that's not going to change what I'm doing here. I will continue to always do what I do. But I will be working on my Patreon page that I really need to get moving on. Not because I want to just use that platform, because that's not the case. I'm not going anywhere in the world of YouTube. But I think it's a good idea to have another platform where I can really put some raw truth out there. That might be too much to talk about here. So be on the lookout. I will be sharing a link with my Patreon soon. Wow. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest. That was long. I do thank you for letting me vent a bit about this current situation. Now, on to the topic. Can hypergamy be altered? First, you need to ask yourself, has hypergamy been altered before? And the answer to that question is yes. Well, James, how does this deal with narcissistic personality disorder or narcissistic abuse? Hang on tight. I will get to that. Here's the reality of the situation. Those that run this earth know how people think and how they will react to certain stimuli. They also know how people are biologically and socially driven to do certain things for survival. But they also know groupthink is huge. You can get a group of people to do some really horrible things, all because other people are doing them, and it's not only socially acceptable, but it's socially expected. And all you need is a couple of generations of this, and before you know it, this ill of society becomes the norm. The fact is, hypergamy has always been in existence. But the form of hypergamy changes depending on social norms. And these social norms can change on a dime due to what those that control our society choose to feed us. You see, many years ago, in most Western cultures, those that ruled wanted strong people to build up their society. And the only way to do that is to make sure the people that are building this society are working together like a well-oiled machine, like a strong unit. Now let me digress for a moment. What I want you to do is think about the country you live in like a company or a corporation. If this company you work for is wanting to build up their business, they first start with their employees. Look at the auto industry. You had hard-working people that could get a great paying job, even if they didn't have a college degree. A job that allowed them to purchase a family-size home, a new car every 5 years or so, and send their children to college, in hopes they would do even better, and obtain a career such as a doctor or lawyer. And people that worked at such places got great perks and they felt they were being taken good care of. But once these companies realized they could save on labor by shipping these jobs overseas, the dismantling of having a prosperous workplace more than likely occurred. Because you see, it's all about where that company wants to go at the moment. Oh, we need people in society to be productive and working together as a unit. Well, let's put out content telling the people this is how they should behave. This is how they should act. Now, this doesn't mean that people weren't bad or evil back then. Of course they were. But we are talking about the run-of-the-mill average person. The average person during that time period didn't have the social backing to bite the apple in the garden, so to speak. So hypergamy looked more like this. A young lady works at a soda shop. Meets a nice young man that works as a loan officer at the local bank. And she sees he's a good catch. And someone she can settle down and have children with. But that's as far as it goes. Society back then didn't say he's a great catch to pretend that she loves him long enough to steal his money and then run off with another man. Now, did this happen back then? I'm pretty sure that would be a yes. But the fact is, our society frowned upon this behavior. If a man lost his job and the wife didn't stick it out with her husband until he got back on his feet, she was seen as a bad wife. But today, it's seen as something a young man can expect. If you lose your job, you will indeed lose your wife or girlfriend. But what we should do is look at the content that is out there. Isn't that the message that is being pushed by the masses? Do what thou wilt. That you get ahead by lying and harming others. Now, that being said, as I've mentioned before, both men and women, I believe, share narcissism in the same frequency. But the only difference is society. Think about what a young lady can do and behave like in this new hypergamous altered world. Is it not what we talk about regarding narcissistic abuse? You see, I've watched some of these interview videos, where these guys ask real detailed questions to women of all backgrounds regarding hypergamy and man and woman relationships. And the answers for most of the women should scare every man watching them. Literally. Because you can see just how quick a man can be replaced. And how flimsy the relationships are in these women's minds and hearts. Now again, men are capable of the same evil. The problem is when these women are talking about what they are talking about, they aren't talking about it in the sense of it being evil. They are talking about it in the sense of being normal. This goes back to the question: can hypergamy be altered? Now, if you go back 50 or 60 years, I think we can say certain behaviors would be deemed as evil. But now fast forward to today. These same behaviors are seen as normal. So what's changed? Well, what has changed is the content on television, music, and society as a whole that is being pushed on people 24/7. To the point it's not only a normal part of what most people's behavior has become, but what is expected. I think there were parts of history where certain people didn't think they were capable of some really bad stuff. But when their society changed on a dime, and everyone else was doing horrible, and I do mean horrible things, these very people that didn't think they had it in them to do such horrible things were able to do them. Well, those that control our society, they know if they push something enough, it's only a matter of time before it takes hold. But the question is why? Why would those that control our society push on us all the corruptness and evil in the world? Because they want to see the fall of people and society. You have to understand, those that come up with such evil agendas are more than likely narcissists, sociopaths, or a psychopath to some degree. Just like that person at the top of your company that you work for, that is going to make sure one day your position gets automated or shipped overseas. They do it with a smile, assuring you everything is going to be okay. All when they knew they were going to do this to you several years in advance, as they made you jump through hoop after hoop. Well, those that push these social ills on our society have the same approach. They show up with smiles and best of intent. Or so it seems. And they prey on the fact that people by and large want to give those that are in positions of great power and control the benefit of the doubt, when in reality they are planning our demise. Just look at society for a moment, and think about what it used to be. Is there something wrong with a young lady that works at a soda shop that sees this guy she likes, that has a responsible job and is the man she wants to build a life with? No. There's nothing wrong with that. But what is wrong is our current version of hypergamy, which is nothing more than narcissistic abuse. which is just love bombing someone to get them to buy into the relationship and then leaving them high and dry, taking all of their money and the children. That's narcissism. But when people talk about it, they talk about it like it's no big deal. It's just utterly bizarre. Hypergamy. Normal hypergamy has been altered for sure, and it's destroying society. Because beyond social norms, changing laws can fix things in a few years easily. Relationship laws. To be more specific. Though I think going to the state to have a husband or wife is a weird thing and is asking for trouble. But that being said, they could even fix that if they wanted to. And if they made it fair and balanced to where both women and men were held equally accountable. And there was nothing to gain financially by leaving a relationship. You would see a heck of a lot more real relationships happen. And if someone unknowingly married a narcissist, once this person found out, he or she could get their freedom and safety, without worrying about losing their shirt in the process. But you know what that would do? It would make things normal. You see, right now we live in a rotting society. Yes, I do believe there are good people, and many good things to appreciate going on around us. And I encourage you all to not be shut-ins. Get out there and live life. But that being said, I would be in denial to not see what's going on around me. And that having a relationship can be dangerous at times. There was a video I watched a while back, and I forget the woman's name. But you could tell she was really into what she was talking about. And she was basically trying to get women to understand why men don't want to marry women anymore. That yes, though men and women share the same evil, society protects and encourages the evil that women do in our society. And I think if more of this information got to some women, they would be able to take a step back and think. Just think before they act. Did you know? There are many men that are just up and left. No narcissistic abuse. No nothing. They were just left suddenly because the woman found a man that was better off. I've talked to men that have said, you know, James, I don't know what happened. I was dating this woman for 3 years. Things were going great. No problems, no fights. No issues. She seemed like a great girl. And out of the blue she just left me. And she confessed it was because I wasn't far enough in life that she wanted me to be. And she found someone else that is. The stand by your man thing during rough times doesn't exist much anymore. And some women that deep down inside want to stand by their man during hard times might do what their so-called friends and society suggest they do. And that is leave a good and decent man they love, and that loves them, just to play the game of tag you're it, and end up with the next best suitor and the next best suitor. Now, why is this important? It's important to know where we came from, so we can see where we are headed. The family unit is in dire straits, because there is no sense of loyalty or decency being pushed in our society. Regardless if people adhere to that message or not. It's not even a message that's being shared or pushed to the masses for the better good. However, what is being pushed is do what thou wilt. Yes. Hypergamy has always existed. But the version of it now is way different than what it used to be. Now, I do say all of this with all seriousness, because I think that women got the worst end of the brainwashing. They are told they are to play this endless game of leapfrog that literally ends up nowhere. And it's my hope that men can see what's going on. And some women, because I know not all, but some women can just wake up. Just wake up. And for the women that are awake, talk to your brothers or the men out there that you care about. Let them know what the real deal is. Because it's really crazy out there. And there's no pity or remorse for those that get hurt. It's just laughter and a message of, you should have known better. Too bad, so sad. That being said, there is an answer to get these laws changed. I did mention I will be talking about it at the right time. Because I hope the right people can take this idea and run with it. You know who you are out there. There are some real movers and shakers on the side of good. I think can take this idea and make some good changes for the side of good. I will be sharing this information soon. We just have to keep on keeping on. With that said, let's keep praying for wisdom. Let's keep praying for strength. And let's keep praying for courage. And until next time. Bye for now. And be good to yourself.